Hey everybody, this is John Stowell and I'm here with my good friend Steve Herberman. Steve is near DC and I'm in Portland, Oregon. Thought we would talk today, guys, about how deep is the ocean, and we're going to touch on some reharms that Bill Evans and Jim Hall both did. So one thing we might do after we walk through the tune with you and show you some alternate pathways is also to illustrate or discuss how some of these alternate pathways through the harmony also are more broadly applied beyond how deep is the ocean.
So we have a PDF of the Jim Hall changes, and then also a PDF of some changes that are commonly played. There's still reharmonizations, and there's 2 chords per bar, there's a lot of chromatic 2/5s and things, but they're slightly different chromatic 2/5s than what Jim Hall and Bill Evans were doing. But if we look at the original Irving Berlin changes, they start similar to the sheet, the PDF, where it's C minor to G over B, or G7 over B, and then C minor over the B flat. Now here, the original Irving Berlin changes, I found this really interesting. In measure 4, there's no D7. It's just A half diminished for the whole measure.
Interesting.
Yeah, which leads to G minor anyways, right? But
True.
The jazz player is going to add the 5/7 of
You put a 5 in.
5 of 5, really. 5 of 5
Yeah, that's
minor,
right.
Which is G
That's
minor.
right.
It goes to G minor. So
When Bill hits the G minor, he then goes up to the flat 6 dominant and goes down chromatically. So this is E flat 7 after the G minor. He doesn't play E half diminished, which I think is the original Irving Berlin. Yeah.
Right.
It's not.
I think the Irving Berlin is just G minor.
Yeah. It just stays on the G minor.
Yeah, I think it stays. Yeah.
Okay, so what Bill does, and Jim does kind of a different, slightly different variation on this. Maybe you can walk through Jim's variations after I've discussed Bill's. So Bill plays E flat 7, D7 to C7 to B flat to B7 to B flat 7. It's just chromatic dominant. And then it's B flat minor, and then he plays 5 of, if we're on our way to A flat, he plays 5 of 2.
Right.
And he plays A flat 7, A7. So lots of tritones or 5 of whatever we're playing. So that's another little cadence that has broader applications, obviously, beyond this tune. So if I see a 2-5-1, very often I'm playing 2, 5 of 2, back to the 2. 2 could also be dominant, and then 1, and either flat 2 or 5 of 1. So if I see B flat minor, E flat 7, A flat 7, in this case, what Bill does is B flat minor, B7, B flat minor, E flat 7 to A flat to A to D flat. Again, this has to happen at a slower tempo because there's so much harmonic information there, but it's basically 5 of different things. That's really all it is. Here we go.
Tune is, I think every lyric in this tune is a question, just like the title, which is very rare for a tune to have.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. And it wasn't lost on Jim Hall, because on his handwritten, so this is going around on the internet, if you can see this. This is Jim's
yeah, that's definitely his writing
here. And he puts a little question mark after it. And on so many charts, you see how deep is the ocean with no question mark. So obviously Jim was aware that this tune was about these questions and so forth. Checking out these soloists, sometimes you'll realize that they're referencing other tunes. They're quoting other tunes.
Absolutely.
You brought up the fact, John, that these are very commonly played changes, like it's a turnaround at the beginning of the tune, and in other places of the tune, you have 1 6 2 5 in minor. Basically, that's how it
Hmm.
starts. It's sort of like minor rhythm changes in a sense.
Indeed.
And how many tunes can fit that? I mean, there's thousands of tunes.
Thousands. Yeah.
You and the Night and the Music. You could throw that in. You could um, what's the like Lullaby of Birdland
Absolutely.
starts out that way.
Yep.
Love Me
Whisper
or Leave
Not.
Me.
Love Me
Which
or
ones?
Leave Me.
Yeah,
And Whisper Not.
Whisper
So there's
Not.
tons of tunes, yeah, with minor, with lots of tunes with minor turnarounds.
Right.
But again, I can just see if I look at any minor chord, and if I have more than a bar, I'll superimpose some additional harmonic information, either a 2 5, a two dominant to a flat two dominant, which could be on Green Dolphin Street, although that's the one is in that case is not minor. So two dominant, flat two dominant is a way to get back to a one minor as well. So, these variations are things that you start to internalize as you're learning songs, essentially, or looking at someone's reharms. Bill's reharms on standards are generally pretty interesting, and Jim's too.